What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports, and we're going to do a little something different today. Get off the Eagles talk, get off the Super Bowl talk, because we all know how much that upsets us, even reliving that moment. It's even weird that it's been a week since the Super Bowl, and like I said, we're going to suffer through that for a little bit. Philadelphia is going to feel that and be upset about it for a little while now. But let's move a little bit forward. Let's talk about some different subjects. Let's talk about some spring training baseball. Phillies action. Pitchers and catchers reported last Thursday. Full team workouts are starting in a couple of days, and we're soon, to be getting full spring training game action. I believe this weekend, this Saturday actually, the first, I believe it's a split squad game, one in Clearwater and one on the road. So yeah, we're getting very close to baseball action. It's funny because we're like so separated from the Super Bowl that I think, that we weren't even focused on anything else, because obviously it's the Super Bowl. Why would you focus on anything else? But it's weird because right after the Super Bowl, it was basically directly spring training right after that. It's something that's really crazy because, like I said, the following Thursday after last week, pitchers and catchers reported. So everyone's basically down there in spring training now. You're seeing all the videos, Trea Turner stepping into Clearwater, the facility down there. You're seeing him taking batting practice. You're seeing him break car shield windows all over the place. You got Kevin Long, the batting coach, saying that, oh, he's a $300 million man. He can definitely afford to pay for that. And just all the guys down there having fun. And you're just seeing so many comments from different press conferences, from different interviews, and just the vibe down there, it just looks absolutely amazing. It feels absolutely amazing. It sounds like this team is just hungrier and hungrier and hungrier, and they want to get back to that Fall Classic. They want to get back and get another chance at getting a World Series, and there's a bunch of quotes from John Middleton as well that even exemplifies that, on how maybe he's more different than any other owner in baseball at this point. Maybe you could put Steve Cohen out of the mix, but at the rate of when he spends money. But you got, John Middleton talking about, legacies and all that stuff, and how he would want to be remembered with this Phillies organization. So there's a lot of stuff to get into as well. And I know the World Baseball Classic, I believe, starts in a few weeks as well, and there's a few Phillies that are going to be involved in the World Baseball Classic. So at the end of the day, I'm not that big excited for it, even though it'll be some, competitive baseball action to watch as spring training goes along. I know there's a few Phillies that are going to be participating in the World Baseball Classic. I'm assuming there's a few guys for Team USA, and there's a few guys for some of the other countries as well. Well, actually, let me bring that up right now just to see which Phillies are participating where. I know a couple are performing for Team USA. So we got JT Realmuto, Kyle Schwarber, Trea Turner. They're going to be playing for Team USA. I think Bryce Harper was, announced for the team, but obviously since he had the Tommy John surgery, he was not going to play. So that wasn't obvious in that situation. Gregory Soto is going to be pitching for the Dominican Republic. Garrett Stubbs is going to be catching for Team Israel. Taijuan Walker, the newly free agent pitcher for the starting rotation, he is going to be playing for Team Mexico. And then Jose Alvarado, who just signed a fresh new contract, to avoid arbitration, I believe, and Ranger Suarez, both of those guys will be pitching for Team Venezuela. And according to this article on NBC Sports Philadelphia, the World Baseball Classic is going to go from March 8th to March 21st. So it's basically throughout the middle of the spring training process. So, you'll see some of these guys in the beginning of spring training, then they're probably most likely going to go to their World Baseball, team camps and everything like that. And then once the World Baseball Classic ends, they'll come right back for spring training to prepare for the regular season, because when is the first game for the Phillies? I believe it's right at the end of March. I know they play they start on the road 2 series, Texas Rangers and the New York Yankees. So I know it's directly at the end of March. So that's definitely something we're going to have to, focus on there as well. So that's definitely something that'll be interesting for everyone. But it's just going to feel so nice to get back into the baseball mode. I think that's, something I've been looking forward to. But, I think it's also going to help a lot of people in Philadelphia get over the mind of the Super Bowl now that they have, a baseball team that they could be very excited for. I know there's still the Sixers, their second half stretch to get into the playoffs. So people are going to be focusing on that as well. But then, once baseball season comes around, once you get the opening day, I know the Phillies, they start on the road for 2 straight series. But then once you get the home opener and everything like that, it's a very nice time down here in South Philadelphia to, go through that entire experience. I'll definitely be down there for opening day, well, home opener, technically not opening day, but it sucks not having the opening day at Philadelphia and you have to wait 2 series to play at home, and then they do that stupid thing where they play one day, then they're off the next day, then they play the next 2 days after that. They do it 2 times in a row. I believe they start on a Thursday in Texas, they'll have off on a Friday, and then they'll play Saturday, Sunday. Then they play Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in New York against the Yankees. They play Thursday at home, off Friday, and then they play Saturday, Sunday again. And I believe they play the Reds at home for the home opening weekend. So I hate that they do that on the schedule, but at the end of the day, baseball is returning, and I think that's the most important thing on that. But overall, I just can't wait for it. I know I stuttered right there, but I couldn't think of the words to say for that entire situation. Like, I just want to know, guys that are joining the live stream and everything like that. I want to know, like, how excited are you for Phillies baseball and everything like that? Is this going to help you? Or, like, are you over the Super Bowl already? Or are you just, is baseball season going to help you get over the fact that you have something to distract yourself from the Eagles losing the Super Bowl and everything like that? Or do the Sixers help you too? So there's definitely a lot of things that you can write in the live feed or in the comment section down below. So there's definitely a lot of thought process there. But, when I'm just thinking of this baseball team right now and, Dave Dombrowski, the way, that he went out there in the offseason after you lose in Game 6 of the World Series. Heartbreaker, even though deep down I feel like we didn't expect this Phillies team to beat the Houston Astros, because at the end of the day, the Houston Astros were just a juggernaut. They just were. The Phillies, they were on a magical run, 3rd wild card spot, everything there. They smacked the Braves, they smacked the Padres, and then they run into an absolute dynamo in the Houston Astros. They just ran out of gas. They put up a good fight for the first few games, but then you get no-hit Game 4. Game 5, you leave so many guys in scoring position. And then Game 6, it was just a gut punch with the Yordan Alvarez bomb. So, at the end of the day, you saw Nola, you saw Wheeler, those guys, a lot of guys in the starting rotation run out of gas. You saw a lot of the hitters run out of gas. And you were just outmatched. That's where it comes down to. You were outmatched. But it's a nice learning experience for a lot of the guys, too. Aaron Nola, Zack Wheeler. Zack Wheeler's really hungry to get back into that position. Aaron Nola, they've been talking about, since you signed Sir Anthony Dominguez, he has a fresh new contract as well with Jose Alvarado. Really, the only guys that you got to worry about contract-wise at the end of the season are Aaron Nola, which the Phillies are focusing on that right now. Even though during the season, Aaron Nola already said he's not going to, if there's nothing to an agreement by the time the season starts, they're not going to do any type of negotiations during the season. He just wants to play the season out and then see where it goes from there. And then, even though I do expect him to have a fresh new contract basically before the season starts, because Dave Dombrowski has been getting this stuff done, and I'm sure with the way the culture has been with the clubhouse, I'm sure Aaron Nola is not going to want to go anywhere. He definitely wants to be a Philly for the rest of his life. So I'm expecting a contract most likely to be done during the spring training process, so it's basically only a matter of time before that happens. And the other player that you, I guess, would have to worry about is Rhys Hoskins, because this is the final year of his contract as well. So going into his, he'll be a UFA next year. We got to see what Rhys is going to be doing during the season, how he's going to perform, what type of money he's going to be making on the market, and does Dave Dombrowski try to get a contract done before he even hits free agency? There's a lot of things to think about in that process. So, and even for Rhys Hoskins, he finally got a taste of postseason baseball action in Citizens Bank Park. So is he going to be even more hungry to stay in Philadelphia so he could be in that atmosphere? Because he came up with some clutch moments, even though he had his bad moments too. Like, basically had his bad moments, very bad moments, honestly, some ugly moments at first base. And he had his really good moments where he hit a lot of clutch home runs. The first home run in Citizens Bank Park in that Game 3 against Atlanta off Spencer Strider. Had a couple of home runs, huge in, the Game 3 and 4 against the Padres. No, actually, it was Game 4 and 5, actually, not Game 3. Then you saw Schwarber wake up. Like, seriously, as I'm thinking about everything right now going towards the season, it's just like all the players here, like how stacked this lineup is going to be. Even without Bryce Harper, because we got to remember, Bryce Harper is not going to be here until after the All-Star break because he's recovering from the Tommy John surgery. Kind of wish he got it a little bit earlier after the World Series ended, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and you really can't control that stuff, even though, Bryce Harper could, but I'm not going to judge. So, if you're looking at this entire roster, just, Dave Dombrowski adding Trea Turner. I know I'm all over the place right now, but that's what we do here. We go all over the place. But you just think to yourself, this offseason, you added the best shortstop in baseball. You added Trea Turner, an arguably top 5, top 10 player in baseball. He's the best shortstop, without a doubt. The best. You add that to the top of your lineup. A guy that can go out there, possibly win a Silver Slugger, possibly knock you in 80, 90, 100 RBIs, get you 20, 25 home runs, get you an average above, 290, 300, steal you a ton of bases, and especially with, the increased base size this year in baseball, there's going to be a lot more bases stolen, and definitely expect Trea Turner to steal a lot of those. You just add that caliber of player to the top of your order, whether he's going to bat leadoff, whether he's going to bat second. I personally bat him second, but I'm not sure what Rob Thompson's going to do. It's just amazing that you add that caliber of player to add along with the rest of the lineup. Kyle Schwarber coming off of a 40 home run season. How dynamic he was last year. June Kyle Schwarber. Like, is it June yet? Like, I can't wait for another June that Kyle Schwarber goes off and he's hitting moonshots all over the place in Citizens Bank Park. I'm waiting for him to finally hit that third deck shot because he hit that monster of a home run in the NLCS against the Padres into that second deck. I'm waiting for the third deck bomb to happen. When's it going to happen, Kyle? When's it going to happen? But still, I can't wait to see what he's going to do. It's going to be amazing. And even like other guys too, Nick Castellanos. There was a lot of talk, talk from, coming into spring training this year. And I remember seeing, I forget who wrote it on the article, but I do remember seeing it on Twitter of him talking about how basically the entire of last season he was trying to do way too much with changing things around with his batting stance, putting a lot of motion that just did not need to be added whatsoever, going through things with Kevin Long. And, there's probably a lot of correlation with all that. I do believe last year, too, in May, he got hit by a pitch in the wrist, and basically soon after that, you saw a lot of the numbers go down in a different direction for Nick Castellanos soon after he got hit by that pitch in May. But we got to see how he bounces back. I do expect Nick Castellanos to bounce back. I don't think he's going to be as egregious as he was last season. He's just way too good of a hitter to be that bad consistently. Because if you have Nick Castellanos not even playing to his, elite level that he did in his contract year with the Cincinnati Reds, if he could just get you, a 280 average, between 280, 300, if he can get you 20, 25 home runs, if he can cash in at least 80 RBIs and have at least an OPS of around 800 to 850, I think you're cooking something good up there with Castellanos. I think he is going to have a nice bounce back season. You add that to the lineup, so you have Trea Turner, you have Kyle Schwarber, you have Nick Castellanos, Rhys Hoskins, honestly, who I can honestly see him going off in a contract year. We all know what Rhys is at this point. He's a very hot and cold player, but he's a guy that can go out there and get you 30 home runs. We all know what he is at first base. He's not good defensively whatsoever, but if the good outweighs the bad with Rhys Hoskins, there you go. Very hot, very cold, but he can carry this team when he's on a hot streak, and we saw those moments of glimpses in the playoffs, especially in that series against the Braves, and especially in those Game 4 and that Game 5 against the San Diego Padres. I can definitely see Rhys Hoskins having some sort of, I wouldn't call it a breakout season in a contract year, but I can honestly see, Rhys Hoskins doing some serious damage this season, especially when he has the opportunity to get paid in the offseason, whether that's for the Phillies or whether he tries to test the market. Personally, I do think Rhys is going to stay here long term, regardless of what happens, but that's a wait and see time. The season's just starting, not even started yet. It's a long ways away at that point. So we got a lot of time to discuss that situation. And you got some other young guys. Honestly, one person I forgot to bring up out of the whole veteran core, JT Realmuto. Got off to a very cold start last year. Once Bryce Harper got hurt, he was fantastic. He was one of the major guys in that lineup that was carrying this team. We all know what he can do behind the plate. He's one of the best catchers in baseball, not the best catcher in baseball for a reason. Amazing defensively, amazing productive with the bat. If he just continues to do what he's doing, you're golden. You're absolutely golden there. And what he did some, moments in the playoffs, like I'm still thinking about that inside the park home run against the Braves. And just the call from Joe Davis there, watching JT fly. All that stuff. Like sometimes I still go back and watch some of the playoff highlights just because it was just that great of a ride. That every second that you just cherish and remember, like, even though I do believe this team is still very capable of it, no doubt about it. These guys are hungry, man. You're seeing everything throughout the clubhouse. All the talk, everything from Zack Wheeler. You're getting a lot of stuff from Nola, just basically everyone throughout there. John Middleton, too. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Then you go to the pitching staff. Zack Wheeler, like I said, definitely wasn't up to the Cy Young season. Even though he wasn't bad last year, I'm not saying that. He was great last year. Wasn't the Cy Young caliber pitcher that he was a couple of years ago because he dealt with, a couple of injury situations. Maybe you can sense a little bit of the mileage on the arm just because of how much Joe Girardi overused him. But maybe this is a year where now that you have suitable guys in the rotation, you have a nice, solid foundation there, if I could try to get that out of my mouth. You have a nice foundation of starting pitchers here. You got Zack Wheeler, you got Nola, you got Ranger Suarez, who definitely, he exceeded his innings, career high in innings pitched last year. I expect Ranger to have a really good season. Who knows? Maybe he could possibly have, trying to think of Ranger Suarez, because I just got a notification on my computer. It completely confused me and just completely blocked everything that I was just saying right here. So I'm trying to get it back into my head. But overall, it's just with Ranger Suarez, we know how good he is with the glove, especially. Like, that's what I was trying to think of. Gold glove caliber player in Ranger Suarez for pitching. I'm just thinking of these little random details here on if Ranger Suarez he pitches the qualifying innings to even qualify for the Gold Glove award. He's definitely going to win it. Can Ranger Suarez win a platinum glove for pitching? I have no idea if that's even possible, but Ranger Suarez is just that dynamic. You could use Ranger Suarez in literally every situation. He could be a starting pitcher. He could be a guy that comes out of the bullpen and shuts down a playoff series for you like he did against the Padres. So, yeah, he's a guy that can do a little bit of everything. And Taijuan Walker, he's better than Kyle Gibson. That's all I could describe it right there. He's a very solid number 4 pitcher. That's all you could do. They signed him to put into the rotation. They signed him to add more depth, so you don't have to worry about Kyle Gibson. I'm going to basically thorough that point. You don't have to worry about Kyle Gibson. You have a nice solid 4 in that rotation. Great 4, honestly. Zack Wheeler, Nola, Ranger Suarez, and Taijuan Walker. And then you also got to discuss who's going to be that 5th guy in the rotation. Is it going to be an Andrew Painter, who is the top pitching prospect in baseball? Is it going to be a guy like a Griff McGarry? Or do you go back to a Bailey Falter type of situation to, let, the Andrew Painters and the Griff McGarrys just flourish a little bit more down in the minors before you call them up? That's definitely something that's going to be discussed. And it's funny, too, because we're hearing stuff about Andrew Painter coming up with a 5th pitch in his arsenal. Caleb Coughlin, man, he loves adding cutters to players. A lot of cutters. We saw what happened with Jose Alvarado in the cutter. When he got sent down to AAA, he came back up and he was one of the best relievers in baseball. Add a cutter to every pitcher's arsenal, and apparently they become the best pitcher on the Phillies. That's basically all you got to do. Add Jose Alvarado. Maybe he does that with Gregory Soto, and he becomes a fantastic guy out of the bullpen. Yeah, Gregory Soto, too. There's definitely some concerns there, especially, with the walks. But he's a flamethrower, and I trust this coaching staff right now. That's something that you would never heard any Philadelphia Philly fans say in the past couple of years. But Caleb Cotham, I trust him to work well with Gregory Soto, even though he's having some difficulties coming to Clearwater because of the visa situation, but he is practicing down in the Phillies Dominican Republic camp. So I'm assuming when everything gets settled there, he'll pitch in the World Baseball Classic. He'll come to Clearwater after everything's done. So it's basically the same thing Ranger Suarez dealt with last spring. So it's nothing too concerning in that situation. He should got to get the visa all straightened out. Then you also had a veteran arm like a Craig Kimbrell. We all know what Craig Kimbrell is at this point. I'm not expecting anything dominant from him. I'm assuming he's basically just the Corey Knebel replacement. That's what I would explain it to. He's not the flamethrower that he used to be. He's still a guy that can go in there and get a job done, even though he's going to have more blowups than not, just because he's up there in age. He hasn't been to his elite form in a while, but he's still a reliable guy that you'd have back there in your bullpen. And then you still, like I said, you have Jose Alvarado, who was basically after his AAA stint last season, he was the best left-handed reliever in baseball. After that call-up, he was just that dynamic with that cutter that he added to his arsenal and the flamethrower that he has, just everything. He could still be a little bit over the place from time to time, but he was more consistent after he got called up. And then you had Seranthony Dominguez, who, coming out of last season, coming off of that Tommy John surgery, basically his first full season since then, he put in a fantastic campaign, and he's probably only going to get stronger from here. I definitely expect that out of Seranthony. And there's some other guys in the bullpen too. You got Connor Brogdon, who I'm still very up and down about. He has some nice pitches in his arsenal, but there's a lot of things that I still question about with him. You also got, I'm trying to think of who else is in this Phillies bullpen. And it's like I have a name and I can't think of it right now. I'm blanking on it right now. I'll probably move away from it. But still, overall, I would say you did sign Strom in the offseason, so that's definitely something that you can work into. Very solid, maybe long relief guy out of the bullpen that you can use, a lefty guy to come out of there and maybe eat some innings when you need to. And then who else? And honestly, he could possibly be a guy that you need in a spot start situation whenever, a guy needs rest or someone gets injured or something like that. So there's a lot of things that you can dive into in that certain fact. But what else? We got the bullpen, which is majorly improved. We got to see what, Rob Thompson is like in his first full season. The Phillies were at at least a 90-win pace when Rob Thompson took over. When they fired Joe Girardi around Memorial Day, Rob Thompson takes over that first series against the Angels, and they go on a 9-game winning streak, I believe it was, 9 games, and they just kept riding through June, through Kyle Schwarber's home runs, and it just kept getting better. July, it felt like every single month, a different player was carrying the team. June was obviously Kyle Schwarber. July was Alec Bohm. We kind of forget about that. Alec Bohm was very good in the month of July last year. He was batting over 400. And there's also some things, with some of the young guys in this team. Alec Bohm, Bryce, and Stott. What are they going to produce? Brandon Marsh as well. How are these guys going to improve on what they did last season? We saw Brandon Marsh coming over from the Los Angeles Angels. There were some issues, with the strikeouts and everything like that, but it kind of looked like Kevin Long was fixing things already with Brandon Marsh last season. He got better as he came to Philadelphia. I believe his numbers with the Phillies last year when he came over, he was at around batting 280 or something like that. So you saw the numbers improve. You saw the strikeout numbers go down. Strikeouts were his major issue. Those were going down as the season progressed. So we got to see a full season of Brandon Marsh in center field because he most likely is your center fielder of the future. Alec Bohm. There's a lot of talk about, Alec Bohm putting on some muscle. I think he said, what I've heard from press conferences and everything like that, that he added around at least 10 pounds of muscle. And he's driving the ball a lot more in the batting practices that we're seeing. But still, it's still wait to be seen what we're going to see from Alec Bohm. He had some really good moments last year. He had some really bad moments last year. We all know what happened in the beginning of the year when he said, I fucking hate this place. So we got to wait to see what we do from Alec Bohm. Is he going to finally figure out that power? Is he going to figure out how to drive the ball? Are we going to see at least a 20 home run season from a guy like an Alec Bohm? It's a wait and see process. And then Bryson Stott, he's going to get a full season at second base. He doesn't have to worry about switching positions, whether he's going to be playing shortstop, whether he's going to be playing second base. He's going to be the starting second baseman because you got an elite top shortstop in baseball in Trea Turner. Now Bryson Stott only has to worry about playing second base. How is Bryson Stott going to improve from last year? definitely coming up. It was a little bit of an adjustment period for him. Got sent down for a little bit, then came back up, and he played definitely a lot better. He knows how to work the count. He knows how to take pitches. Definitely doesn't have an issue striking out. He owns Max Scherzer, too. That's one thing. He definitely owns Max Scherzer. Very good against Max Scherzer. I want to keep pointing that out because he is very good against Max Scherzer. But how is Bryce going to improve? I definitely expect some type of improvement. Like nothing gigantic, nothing major, because you got to look throughout this Phillies lineup and just like where to place guys. Because you obviously know the 1-2 are going to be either, Kyle Schwarber or Trea Turner. Personally, I would still keep Kyle Schwarber in a leadoff spot just because that's where you generated most of the success from. I know there's a lot of arguments about putting Kyle Schwarber down lower in the lineup just so he has a chance to drive in more RBIs. But we have to wait and see what Rob Thompson does. Trea Turner, I believe his career numbers are way better in the 2-hole. Definitely way better in that situation. 3, that's definitely more of a question mark because you don't have Bryce Harper in the lineup. So we're going to see how Rob Thompson works with that. 4, I would keep JT Realmuto there just because there was success there last season. Rhys Hoskins, maybe you put him 5. Maybe you just work some things around. Maybe you put Rhys Hoskins 3rd. I'm not sure how you do this lineup without Bryce Harper. So that's definitely something there. Then you get Nick Castellanos, you get Bryson Stott, you get Alec Boehm, you get Brandon Marsh, and all those type of guys. So there's definitely a lot of things to work around with that lineup. Yeah, it's just very exciting time. It is. Baseball back. First spring training games are this Saturday. It's an amazing feeling. It really is. And actually, I brought up a couple of things from John Middleton earlier on in this stream. Like reading this stuff from John Middleton, it makes you want to run through a brick wall on how passionate he is, on how, like, we really weren't saying this stuff about John Middleton a couple of years ago, with the Andy McPhail, the Matt Klentak era. We really weren't saying this stuff about him. But, having Dave Dombrowski in this front office, going through that playoff run, seeing that atmosphere at Citizens Bank Park on how electric it was, I feel like it's put another gear in the John Middleton. So, this is what he had to say, because reading this stuff from him, and I'm going to repeat this every time, or say this every time, it makes you just want to run through a brick wall. So, here's what John Middleton basically had to say about, legacy and all that stuff with him as an owner. So he's saying his goal is that we create a team 100 years from now when people ask the question, what are the greatest teams in the history of baseball? How much money did the 27 Yankees make, or the 29 A's, or the 75 to 76 Big Red Machine? Does anybody know? Does anybody care? Nobody knows or cares whether any of them made any money or not. If your ambition is to be good, you don't make those decisions to sign Trea Turner. If your ambition is to be great, you make those decisions. It's about desire, really. He just wants to win. And he also continues with that, but that's what the market requires. People say, why are you doing that? That's just stupid. Well, I did it because that's what it took to sign the guy. If I had stopped at 7 or 8 years, I wouldn't have signed him. So that's your choice. And if you're overpaying 10 years for now for athletes who got you a couple, 3 World Series titles, I mean, what do I care? Seriously, what do I care? And I can guarantee that none of our fans would care. So basically, the blank checks, John Middleton does not care how much money he spends. He doesn't care how much money he puts out there to try to build his team, to make his team better, to get fans in the stands, to get himself closer to another World Series. He's trying to help build this Phillies team to win multiple World Series. And this Phillies team definitely has a good shot at doing that. Granted, there's a lot of tough teams in this league. We know that. You have especially in your division, you have the Atlanta Braves, you have the New York Mets. Both those teams definitely improved from last season. Even though with the New York Mets, their collapses in the late seasons, there's still a lot of things that a lot of teams need to prove as well, but still, the NL East is going to be one of the toughest divisions in baseball, besides the Marlins and the Nationals. Phillies, Mets, Braves, is going to be a very tough division. Looking at the rest of the National League, the Dodgers and the Padres, they're going to run the NL West. Who's going to win that division? I'm not entirely sure. Then you get the NL Central, it's really more of a crapshoot, I guess you could say, because even though there's a lot of these projections and everything saying the Brewers have a better chance to make the playoffs than the Phillies, I think a lot of those projections are more stating towards the quality of competition that the NL Central is. Because if you're looking at that entire division, there's a lot of bad teams. The Reds, the Pirates. I wouldn't say the Cubs are a bad team, but they're more of that tweener type of team. They're more that mediocre type of team, like a Red at 500. Then you got the St. Louis Cardinals, who definitely improved from last season, and the Milwaukee Brewers, who I personally think got worse, and especially since they pinched off Corbin Burnes with the arbitration nonsense. So I wouldn't be shocked if Corbin Burnes gets traded this year at the deadline, if the Brewers are not doing good. So that's definitely something that you got to look at this coming trade deadline, even though we're nowhere close to that situation. But it's something to think about. It definitely is. But just reading this stuff and seeing John Middleton talk about this stuff, and just everything from how much money he does not care. He wants to build a legacy for this Phillies team. He wants to, this Phillies team to be remembered in the sport. He wants everything like that. He wants multiple World Series titles. If you're a Phillies fan, you're going to want to run through a brick wall hearing this, because this is some high quality content. It really is. It really is from John Middleton. Like, you can honestly say he's one of the best owners in baseball. Because I'm reading some stuff from like a bunch of other owners, and like, did you see the stuff from the Baltimore Orioles owner and everything like that? I believe it was talk from today. I want to bring up that quote because it was just so stupid. And I think John Angelos, the Orioles owner, he's talking about just stupid things. He says that he's looking to organizations like the Tampa Bay Rays, the Cleveland Guardians, and the Milwaukee Brewers as examples of sustained success. We all, if you're an Orioles fan, you know your owner's a cheapskate. You have a very nice young core of players, but they're like, when you build that foundation, when you have that foundation built, I'll rephrase that. When you have that core group of players right there for you, you have, maybe your shortstop, you have your first baseman, you have your starting pitcher, or anything like that, anything that resembles a young core. Then you want to supplement that core with a lot of veteran talent that you can get, maybe via trade, maybe via free agency. You sign that big guy coming out of free agency. There's talks about Manny Machado opting out this year with the San Diego Padres out of his contract, and he's possibly going out there in the market for a 10-year, $400 million deal. Like, are the Orioles even going to, try to attempt that for a top guy on the market, bring back Manny Machado home? I'm not sure if their owner's going to want to do that. But if you're looking at John Middleton, this has no correlation with Manny. I'm just bringing up examples. Like, John Middleton, he knows what guys he wants to go after in the free agent market. He knows a guy that's going to help this team out and make them better for the long run. He saw Trea Turner. He saw Bryce Harper. He saw a bunch of those free agents that he brought in. He saw Kyle Schwarber. Even though Nick Castellanos didn't help out, he saw Nick Castellanos. And he's like, let's bring these guys in. They're going to help make our team better. Especially, even though Matt Klentak was the guy that signed Bryce Harper, it's still part of that vision. Bryce Harper's here for the long term. One of the best players in baseball. Trea Turner, he's one of the best players in baseball. Now you have those two guys here for the very long term. The two probably faces of your team at that point. Then you add it along with Kyle Schwarber, who's probably your best power bat there. So, this team has a great foundation. And even talking about other things. Like, I brought up Andrew Painter for a little bit, but just think about it. Andrew Painter is the best pitching prospect in baseball. I want to go to the MLB prospect rankings, just so I can tell you guys how good Andrew Painter is ranked among the MLB top prospects. Just so you guys can see. So if I go to MLB.com, their top 100 prospects to see where everything. Andrew Painter is the number 6 prospect in baseball. He is the best starting pitcher right here on this list. If we look at the top prospects for baseball, 1 is Gunnar Henderson of the Baltimore Orioles. 2 is Corbin Carroll of the Arizona Diamondbacks. 3 is Francisco Alvarez of the New York Mets. Jordan Walker for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's the 4th best prospect. Anthony Volpe, the Yankees shortstop prospect. He's the 5th best in baseball. And then you got Andrew Painter at 6. Best pitching prospect. And I want to see the top 10 by position. Let's just see what the pitchers are here. Actually, is it specifically right-handed pitchers? Okay, I'm not going to do that because it doesn't do pitchers as a whole. It just qualifies them lefty and righty pitchers, which is kind of stupid. But if you're looking at, let me look at the top 20. of prospects in baseball. How many pitchers are in the top 20? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 pitching prospects in the top 20 in Major League Baseball. Top 100 prospects. In the top 20, there's 6 pitchers. I know I'm completely going long on that explanation, but you understand what I mean. Out of those 6 pitchers in the top 20, Andrew Painter is the best. And Gunnar Henderson, he's going to be playing big league baseball this year, so he's most likely going to work himself out of those rankings because I'm assuming you got to play a certain amount of games to declassify yourself as a rookie. Same thing with Corbin Carroll. I'm assuming Francisco Alvarez, the same situation. I'm not sure about Jordan Walker, Anthony Volpe, and all that stuff, but Andrew Painter, he's a top prospect in baseball. There's a lot of hype around this kid. He's going to be in this Phillies rotation for years to come. He's a top-end arm. He's got a A plus fastball. He's got amazing off-speed pitches. He was dominating through Class A, all the A qualifications that you can even go in the minor leagues. Double A he dominated in. Didn't pitch Triple A, but at this point we all know Triple A really isn't, the main qualification to get into the Major League Baseball. It's more like Double A is the best, development system down there, development league. But Andrew Painter, with all the pitches that he has, he's developing a 5th pitch. Just imagine Andrew Painter as a 19-year-old possibly winning the 5th spot of the rotation coming out of spring training. And he adds to that with Zack Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, Taijuan Walker. You got yourself a pretty great rotation right there. Because you got Aaron Nola, who was 4th in the Cy Young last year. Analytically, he was the best pitcher in baseball last season. And I only expect him to be better. I expect him to be basically more of the same with Aaron Nola. I know he had his hiccups in the postseason last year. I think that was just due to running out of gas. I know a lot of Phillies fans have issues with Aaron Nola. He's still one of the best pitchers in baseball. Zack Wheeler, same thing, one of the best pitchers in baseball. He really stepped up in the playoffs last year. Pitched a great game in the wild card round. Pitched great against the Braves. Pitched fantastic against the Padres. He had the hiccup in World Series Game 2, but I'm assuming that was with all the shoulder inflammation and everything like that. Pitched his ass off in Game 6 before, Rob Thompson pulled him, and that whole debacle happened. But Zack Wheeler wants to get back there. This entire pitching staff, man. It's a fun time. It's a very fun time to watch this Phillies team. It's a very fun time to get excited about this Phillies team. I can't wait for more. I can't wait, for everything like that. It's amazing. It's amazing to think about. I can't wait. I absolutely can't wait for Phillies baseball. Like I said, I'm going to be there opening day and everything like that. It's going to be a fun time. It really is. And I'm just looking at the schedule right here. So we do have the first spring training game is going to be, or games are going to be on this Saturday. Split squad, home game against the Yankees and a road game against the Tigers. The first game is going to be televised against the Yankees, so I'm not sure what's going to happen there, like what player's going to play or anything like that. Not sure who's starting. Maybe the first game you'll see some of the main guys out there, so who knows what's going to happen in that situation. Then you got your whole spring training schedule for March. And then the first regular season game, it's going to be a Thursday, March 30th, against the Texas Rangers in Texas. And like I said, you start that first 2 series of the year against the Texas Rangers and the New York Yankees. That's definitely going to be something fun to think about. I didn't even realize this. The first Sunday game of the season is on ESPN against the Texas Rangers. Oh my God. That's interesting right there. I wonder who gets the opening day nod, starting pitching-wise. Would it be Nola or would it be Wheeler? I would expect Nola just because that's more of the, consistent thing there. That's been more of what's happening recently. Aaron Nola gets the opening day nod. So I wouldn't expect anything less for that. Then you get the home opener, a couple of series against the Cincinnati Reds. Like I said, I really hate that. I really hate the way they do this stupid schedule. Seriously. First game of the year, Thursday. Then you get off on a Friday. And then you play Saturday and Sunday. And then they do the same thing for the home opener. You play Thursday afternoon. You're off Friday. Then you play Saturday and Sunday. I hate that. I hate that. I know it's only for the first 2 weeks of the year. But it's so stupid. It is so stupid. Like, seriously, it's Friday. I want to watch baseball. I want to watch Phillies and everything like that. I don't want to wait for anything. I hate that. I hate it so much. I really do. Sucks. I hate that. But we're getting closer to baseball, and that's all that matters. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Driving myself insane. I don't know why I am, but I am. So, I think in terms of, like, I know it was all over the place in this stream, but that's what you get. What happens when you're talking about Phillies baseball or Phillies sports. Everything. I probably didn't even cover everything I wanted to talk about, but we're, like, almost 40 minutes into this? I don't want to go that long. So, yeah. I got a voicemail here from Sean once again. And if you want to leave your voicemail for future streams and everything like that, you can leave those at 215-839-9885. Thoughts and opinions on Phillies or just any other stream upcoming. I know, really, this week it's not going to be major busy. I know the Sixers start after the All-Star break. They start Thursday back up and everything like that. So maybe we'll get another Eagles stream if anything. We'll probably cover more Eagles when they start making them more moves, like, coaches and everything like that. Off-season moves and everything. So Sixers, they got a really tough stretch after the All-Star break. Maybe we'll start talking some Sixers more. We're not talking Flyers. Even though they got themselves a nice win against Calgary, I really don't care about the Flyers at this point until basically I'll talk them with the trade deadline and everything like that. So Flyers are basically done with me right now. Then, of course, when the Phillies come back, we'll probably do our occasional, Philly stuff throughout the spring training process, and then we'll get into our daily game recaps once the season starts. So we're definitely not that far away from doing daily Phillies recaps, so that's going to be a fun time. It really is. It really is. So let's get into this voicemail from Sean, and let's see what he has to say about the Phillies.
Gotta tell you, Amadeo, baseball couldn't come at a better time, in my opinion. Gotta have something to get us over the Eagles, although that's damn near impossible, but good to see the guys back in camp. Overall view of the year, I mean, look, you're in a tough division, as we know. You got the Mets, you got the Braves, and I don't even discount the Marlins as far as being a pest. I mean, they're stockpiling some good young arms, and as we know, they've played the Phillies tough over the years. I mean, the intriguing spots for me, of course, besides Harper, you got to see what Castellanos is going to do. Can he bounce back? I am real interested to see Andrew Painter. I want to see if he and or Griff McGarry can make this club coming out of the spring. I'm a little concerned. I'm reading up on it about the backup outfield positions. I mean, they're trying Derek Hall and Edmundo Sosa in the outfield. I do think they could use a proven guy there, especially a guy with a proven glove late in games. But it should be an interesting year. I mean, hopefully the World Series experience will help propel them. They got a taste of it. Don't know what the end result's going to be, but it should be an interesting journey to get there.
I definitely agree there, Sean. It's funny too, like as I'm like doing this stream, I have my cat like laying right there, and I'm like saying to myself, please don't get up, because I closed the door just so nothing interrupts me and anything like that. And of course, like we're getting close to the end of the stream, so it definitely works out better, but he got up, he wants to get out, so I'll go through some of your guys' comments right here, and then I'll end the stream off so my cat can get out of the door, because he's just literally sitting right there. So yeah. And we got some text message right here. I see put me on that field. Sorry, that's all. I think that's some of my buddies talking right there. Oh, God. So let's see some of you guys in the comment section right here before I end it off. Channel name saying, I'm excited for the Phillies, but I think we should have gotten more starting pitching. I think starting pitching-wise will be fine. It's definitely more improved than last year. We need Wheeler, Nola, Suarez to stay healthy. I do expect that to happen. I want Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the Phillies uniform so badly. I don't think that's going to happen, man. I don't think that's going to happen. Trade Rhys, move Kyle to first, and we need an outfielder. That's not happening, Chip. How does Painter's minor league year stack up against all-the-time great seasons? I have no idea, honestly. I don't. Griff will be up this year, and I think pitching will be good enough by the postseason. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Andrew Painter starts the year. I wouldn't be surprised if anybody, honestly. I wouldn't. Phillies trademark cutter. I'm all up for some Gregory Soto heat. Let's see. Tough schedule out of the gate opener against DeGrom. Turner better get on base and steal second, third, and home for us. Honestly, did you hear the news about, DeGrom possibly being hurt again? Honestly, it feels like that's just a scheduled tweet. It just does. Jake with DeGrom, always getting hurt. One of the best pitchers in baseball. Made of glass. Bottom line there. All owners should mirror Middleton. Your legacy is about titles, not money. I agree. The biggest detriment of baseball, too many teams that have owners that don't want to spend or simply do not have revenue stream to do so. Yeah, that's a lot of... It's basically the upper echelon teams, and you got teams like the Oakland Athletics that are most likely going to be moving to Las Vegas. And then, screw it, start Painter Saturday against the Yankees. Let's go. What are your thoughts on the new rules? I like them myself. Yeah, I think the shift is definitely going to help a lot of people, especially guys like Kyle Schwarber and stuff like that. Guys that, like a Joey Gallo, and like just thinking ground baseball. There's going to be a lot of things where the lack of shift definitely does help people. So that's definitely something that's going to be getting used to, the bigger bases as well, and the pitch clock and everything like that. There's a lot of things that you got to get used to. You'll probably see some slip-ups over as the, beginning games start, but then I think players will just eventually get used to all that stuff, like, with the universal DH and everything like that. So it's basically just a learning process and all that. But okay, I think I'm going to end it here, everyone. My cat wants to be let out, so I appreciate everyone for joining tonight. Definitely stay tuned for future streams and everything like that. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. I like to see those as always, and don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to check out everything in the description down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Definitely would appreciate that. Support the channel and everything like that. And also use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Use it. Great deal. Don't pass it up. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining tonight, and I will see you.